April.
Meantime, a big problem may be brewing in efforts to enforce SB 1070. A top official with Immigration and Customs Enforcement has said they will not necessarily process illegal immigrants picked up by Arizona authorities. But the Department of Justice, which oversees ICE, says it's reviewing our immigration law and has not made any policy decisions just yet. And with me right now is Sheriff Joe Arpaio. Sheriff, thanks so much for joining us tonight. Let's talk about whether this actually happens with ICE. If they decide that they're not going to take these folks that we arrest under this new law, what happens? Where do they go?
Well, most of our arrests have been on state violations the last 3 years. So, and also with the new law, we will be able to arrest people here that are here illegally. So we don't have to turn them over to ICE. We'll put them in our jails. But it is important, though, to turn over certain people in our jails once they complete their sentence to the feds so they can deport them. So that would be a big decision that I hope never comes about.
So you'll be following that closely,
yes.
Obviously. There's been a lot of concern under this new law with the question of what exactly constitutes reasonable suspicion with regard to potentially asking somebody whether they're here legally or not. So when you talk to your deputies and when you're training them under this new law, what do you tell them constitutes reasonable suspicion?
Well, we've been training them under my law. We've been doing this for 3 years. Nothing has changed. We have a great success rate. The new law specifies there'll be no profiling, no racial profiling. And it's only common sense when you contact people in the course of your duties and you feel they may be here illegally to further that investigation.
Give me an example, though, of what would fall under that.
Well, if you stop someone, the person has no identification, no driver's license, 10 people stashed in the trunk that don't speak English, I think you would have an idea they may be here illegally.
So you're looking for something glaring?
Yeah, but as I say, we don't go on street corners and grab people because they look like they're from another country. We haven't been doing that for the past 3 years, and we will not do that. But pursuant to our duties, when we enforce the laws, come up with another state violation, necessarily it's right to look into that, to see if they're here illegally. So I don't know what all the commotion is with this new state law.
Well, let's talk about some of the commotion, because we've seen a magnitude of negative reaction to this and to our state. At any point, I mean, with the international boycotting, the talk shows just going crazy, and of course the boycotting of our state and our city, did you at any point think, boy, there is going to be a negative reaction to this of a magnitude like we've never seen?
You know, I was a director in Mexico City for 4 years with the U.S. Drug Enforcement. I worked with the President, Attorney General, when under Nixon, when we almost closed the border. I took over. They hated us. I knew the diplomatic problems, the economic problems in those days. I see it again coming up, but so negative these days with misinformation. It's really sad. Everybody took an oath of office to enforce the laws. That's all we're doing. This is a new law. It should be enforced, and the Mexican president should keep out of our business.
So
he's got his own problem.
So you were surprised by it?
Yeah, I've been the poster boy. I've had demonstrators, national, but I'm really surprised at how far this has gone now, just because a new law was signed regarding this issue.
Sheriff Joe Arpaio, very nice to have you here tonight.
Thank you.
Thanks
Thanks
so
for
much.
the great work
Appreciate it. Thank you very much. See?
All right, Catherine, well, did you know that ICE flies deported immigrants home? They do, and we got a rare opportunity to go along.
I came illegally because of the war in my country.
We have your special access boarding pass when we come back.
I understand that, what they're talking about, but, it's like, if my mom came here, yeah, illegally, but, I'm a citizen. I was born here. I don't know any difference.
It's time that they went home and tried to come back here the legal way.
You've seen the video of illegal immigrants being arrested, but you've never seen them actually being sent back to their home country.
Investigative reporter Tammy Leitner went along on a very unique plane ride with a group of Guatemala nationals getting deported.
For thousands of illegal immigrants, their American dream ends here, at this airport hangar at Williams Gateway Airport.
We're about to board a plane headed for Guatemala. 124 Guatemalan nationals are being deported today.
CBS 5 Investigates was given special access to view the deportation process from the inside out. Immigrations and Customs Enforcement deported more than 81,000 immigrants last year, many to South America.
Well, I came illegally because of the war in my country.
Jose Luis Ramirez fled Guatemala in 1985 when he was just 15.
Was it worth the risk coming here?
Yeah, because if I would have stayed in my country, most likely I would be killed. I would be dead right now.
Each of these Guatemala nationals say they had good reason to enter the United States illegally. Vincent Ramirez wanted to provide for his family, so he worked for 4 years to save $5,000 to pay a smuggler to bring him across the desert.
4 nights and 4 days walking. Yeah, no food, no water, no fruit, nothing.
He got caught once he made it to Arizona.
I don't have money, I don't have the food, but the economy is down, you know. I think it's my last time. I don't come back never.
Many of the immigrants on this plane sacrificed everything to get to the United States. And on their journey, some of them were beaten, robbed. They went without food and water. But now they're being sent home, some of them to a place they don't even know.
I don't know the streets of Guatemala. I don't know what's going on.
Minor Navas came to the U.S. alone when he was just 14. Eventually, he married, had a child, and became a chef in New York. He worked hard to create a good life for himself here.
By then, you know, it was like I was going to a Yankee game, Boston, Fenway, football. You know, I become like a really, you know, American dream, you know what I mean?
His American dream came to an end when he got in a fight and got arrested.
I had a life going, and for some reason, for a mistake, everybody does mistakes, you know? I don't consider myself a criminal.
The 4.5-hour plane ride to Guatemala ends with applause as we touch down. Some are visibly happy to be home. Others will risk it all again to sneak back into the United States. The immigrants are given food and processed with new papers to show they're Guatemala citizens. We don't have much time on the ground.
Apparently, we only have clearance to be on the ground here in Guatemala for about 55 minutes, so we're rushing to get back to the plane and fly home.
And for many of the immigrants just deported, their stay in Guatemala won't be much longer than ours. Some of them will make the trek back to the United States.
I think my heart is in the United States.
Now, there are so many illegal immigrants that need to be deported from Arizona. That flight you just saw runs 4 to 5 times a week. And the cost is a big one, about $600 a person. Cena and Catherine, back to you.
All right, Tammy, thanks so much for that. Well, you've been telling us loud and clear you want your opinions heard on this controversial issue.
And we are committed to giving you a voice. Here's just a snapshot of how some of your Valley neighbors feel.
We have the right to be wherever we want.
I mean, who is next? Is going to be the point where they put the star on your shirt and say you're a Jew, you're out?
I'm glad that it did pass.
I'm in favor of it. It should have been passed a long time ago.
We are humans. We're not animals or insects.
I think it's a tragedy that so many people are coming out against this bill.